So welcome everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I've been missing for a while on a healing journey. I'm back now on the mend, which is good news. This is my first meeting for a few months, I think. Karen and I started this group up back in 2020, just as maybe a few new people here, to support each other and other therapists, to give us all the platform to meet like-minded people, and to members of the group to have the platform for the evening to share your wares. Hopefully all of you are in our Telegram group, and if anyone here would like the opportunity at some point to speak, if you haven't already and you've an active part of the group, then you're very welcome to have a turn. So I will hand you over to Shaun, who's come to talk to us today about his green witchery, and he's also a herbalist. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Shaun, because you know more about what you do than me. Thanks for coming.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, evening all. So I'm Shaun Pritchard. I'm in the day I'm kind of a graphic designer, and in life in general, I'm a green witch and a herbalist. Predominantly, I guess I should start really with what it is that a green witch is. I mean, as far as witchcraft goes, witchcraft is kind of, if you think of witchcraft as a tree, and then there's loads of different branches that come off that tree, and each branch is a different kind of branch of witchcraft. So you get kind of, there's different kinds of witches. So you get kind of hedgerow witches, you get Wiccans, you get white witches, you get kitchen witches, you get eclectic witches, you get all sorts of different kinds of witches, and they all have a different kind of practice. Now, one of the main things that kind of distinguishes green witchcraft from the others is a lot of the other branches of witchcraft tend to follow like a deity. They tend to follow deities or gods or goddesses, or some follow spirits, some follow, it could be anything, it could be folklore, however it is. The most common kind of witchcraft essentially is Wicca. So Wicca is the religious aspect of witchcraft. Wicca is the religious side of it, and that's a fairly modern thing. That sort of came about in like the 40s and 50s, mostly in the 50s. So that tends to be more of a modern sort of version, and that's the religious aspect. So that is where it's kind of taken from some of the old traditional values, but also brought into a more formalized religion. I don't follow that. I don't follow the religious aspects of it. I don't worship gods. I don't worship goddesses. I don't I don't pray to fairies and all that kind of thing. That's not what I do. Green witchcraft it tends to be wild. It tends to be very wild at heart, and a lot of the other different branches of witchcraft tend to practice based around. They have like set up altars and stuff, and they kind of have a formalized type of practice. You'll get some that are solitary and some that work as part of a coven. And I know a lot of witches, and I've been to coven meetings and things like that. I don't tend to practice as a coven because the very nature of green witchcraft is that it is wild. So the aspect of green witchcraft is that you practice in a wild nature. So you could essentially create your altar space or sacred space wherever you are. It could be in whatever shape or form you want it to take. There's no rules. The only rules really that govern my practices are the rules of nature. That's it. The laws of nature are the only rules really. So the bulk of green witchcraft particularly is based around plant and natural energies, so nature energy. It's governed by the elements, so fire, water, air, and earth. Some green witches will kind of tag on spirit or space or soul as part of that elemental collection as well. But as a rule, I tend to just focus purely on the four core elements of the earth. It's the predominance of green witchcraft particularly is based around herbal medicine, plant-based medicine, plant-based magic, and the seasonal shifts of nature. And that's how it tends to be governed around. So the way I work is it's kind of the idea about green witchcraft particularly is it's all about the now. So some branches of witchcraft and other religions and other spiritual practices as well, they tend to be, a lot of people work on like past issues or future, the past or the future or that kind of aspects. With green witchcraft, it's all about the here and now. And the idea is that nature is ever changing and ever evolving. So you have to keep reconnecting yourself with nature in the present moment as it stands right now. Because nature changes so quickly and so frequently, it changes like the wind. So essentially you have to keep reconnecting all the time. So it's all about remaining very, very present in the very immediate now. So in that aspect, there's a lot to that as far as the practice itself goes. But in that sense, it's all about maintaining a really grounded kind of base for yourself, for your spiritual self, and keeping yourself grounded in the here and now. Everything is there's nothing that, the whole thing's about energy, but there's nothing that really that you put out there that is negative, because that's a real big thing in all aspects of witchcraft. If you put anything negative out there, you get it back threefold. And obviously there's like this three is like a magical number in various different spiritual sort of disciplines, and none more so than witchcraft. So 3 is a real significant number. So if you put any kind of negative energies out there, you get it back threefold. So you have to be really in the present and based in the here and now to be able to not do that. So the idea is that you don't sort of transmit your past traumas into the collective energies of the universe. You kind of keep everything in the here and now. You work on, there's a lot of aspects where there's things like a lot of shadow work, a lot of working on ourselves, on our inner sort of being, on remaining present and staying focused in the here and now, a lot of grounding work, and that kind of practice. So before I go any further, we'll just do, if everyone's comfortable, we'll just do like a little quick grounding exercise, if that's okay, if everyone's up for that. So if you just want to sit in your chair or wherever you are and sit up and put your feet flat on the floor. Now, if you've got shoes or socks or slippers or whatever on, then it's better if you can keep them, if you're barefoot. If you don't want to be barefoot, it doesn't really matter, but to be quite honest, I'm more barefoot than I wear shoes. I don't tend to wear shoes that often, and I can quite happily go out and about, walking about just in bare feet. So, but yeah, if you want to just sit and ground yourselves, and you can close your eyes if you want, or you can kind of just sit and sit calm and just remain comfortable. So if you sit comfortable now and take a deep breath in, hold it for 2, and then breathe out through your mouth. And then in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then once again, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Now in your mind's eye, if you bring your focus all the way down your body into your feet, into the soles of your feet, and the soles of your feet where they connect with the floor. And I want you to imagine that there are green shoots sprouting from the soles of your feet going down into the floor, into the ground that your feet are resting on. Now, if you're in your house, it doesn't matter. Let the shoots go through the floor. There's no resistance at any point here, so it doesn't matter where the shoots go. So the shoots go right through the floor, and if you're upstairs, they go through the floor below, and they keep going, and they go right down into the core of the earth. So they gradually feed down, and as they go in deeper and deeper, the roots are becoming stronger and stronger. So the roots are becoming stronger and stronger, and you can feel the ground connecting deeper to the roots of your feet. And the more deeply the roots go, the stronger your connection to the ground, and the stronger your connection to the earth. And be conscious of the roots that as they're going down, as they're traveling down through the ground, they're getting deeper and deeper. And as they do, your legs and your feet get heavier and heavier. They're fully rooted now. And you should be able to feel a warm energy coming up from the floor, almost circulating your feet and circulating through your feet, through your ankles, through your toes, through your shins, and all the way up to your knees, moving all the way up your legs, into your hips, into your thighs, into your stomach, through up into your abdomen, flowing out through your chest, through your arms, through your neck, up through your head, and out through the top of your head. The roots are still connected to the ground, and you're still firmly rooted. You're calm, quiet, and still. Now take a deep breath in. Hold for 2. And out again. And then you can open your eyes if you want to now. And just sit with that for a second. Okay, so now if everyone wants to sort of come back. So hopefully we're now all sort of fully grounded. I would definitely encourage everyone to do some form of grounding exercise on a daily basis if they can. For me, walking barefoot in grass is something that I love to do, and that's something that is massively grounding for me. But any kind of grounding exercise will work, and to bring your attention to the here and now. So as I was saying before, the whole thing with the whole Greenwich aspect is it's all about plant-based knowledge, herbal knowledge, plant-based medicine, things like natural foods. Growing your own food is a big part of a lot of people's practice. Anything to do with natural remedies, and obviously the whole herbal remedy thing with witchcraft goes back for thousands of years. It was something that we did way before pharmacies came about and the modern day notion of medicine. But the actual practice of witchcraft is all about energy. It's about the transference of energy, and green witches tend to believe that even plants have a soul, a spirit or a soul. And as such, when we interact with plants, whether we grow them, whether we're harvesting stuff, whether we have to pick something or take a branch from a tree or whatever it is, the idea is that this is a transient human being, not a human being, sorry, a transient energy, and it's a living being. So it has its own energy, its own aura, and just because we can't see it and we can't understand its communication particularly, doesn't mean it's not communicating. There's been a lot of studies recently about kind of like the mycelium that's underneath the ground, that essentially the nervous system of the wood, and it's a massive highway of structures that are essentially almost like the lifeblood of the forest. And it stretches for thousands of miles. You know, it just keeps going. It's forever. It's under our feet all the time, hundreds and hundreds of miles of it all the time in any given spot that we're in. And it carries the chemical signals from trees, from different plants, and carries them out vast areas to vast areas. So it's kind of connecting with that. It's kind of connecting with that energy source. Plants have a powerful energy source, and the various different kinds of plants have different kinds of energy, and you can kind of feel them to a point. You get to a point where you're rewired in yourself, and that's something that is a big aspect of my practice. So I love the fact of learning to. I've kind of taught myself to rewire myself to a point, because I think we lose touch with that over time. You know, modern day stuff and technology and work and society in general. I think we've lost a lot of the aspects of our wild selves that we would have been at some point. So with that in mind, it's a really nice thing to learn to do about yourself. And I've kind of taught myself to do. I'm kind of on the path of rewilding myself, essentially. So I've learned to do things like, apart from the plants and trees and knowing their uses, I've learned to kind of read nature to a point. So what I mean by that is there are things like, for instance, there's a thing called ticking in trees, and trees will tick, which means they'll grow straight, and then when the sun moves around to a certain direction, they'll tend to grow towards that. And if it's done over a prolonged period of time, particularly if there's like been some branches blown down so the sun's allowed to hit them again, over time they'll gradually tick to a certain angle. And where that angle ticks, you can kind of sense the direction. So even if you don't know where you're going, you can find your way using the ticking of the trees if you know what to look for. So there's things like that, like learning to read ticks of trees. There are things like being able to, I don't know who sort of follows. I know a few of you sort of know of my journey and stuff, essentially, but there's a lot that don't. Recently, I've had a nose operation. I spent years where I couldn't smell or taste. So that at all, I had no smell or taste for about 10 years or something. So I was not able to smell or taste anything. And I've had a nose operation recently, and I can now smell, but it's kind of enhanced it to a point where it's more than just normal smell now. I can kind of pick out different smells within a single smell. So I can kind of pick out ingredients. So if something was cooking, I could pick out all the ingredients that's being cooked in that pan and split them into separate smells. And it works the same with things like, it works the same with nature now. I can kind of smell all the different plants, even with one single whiff standing outside. I can smell lots of different plants and pick out the plants. So I can kind of close my eyes and kind of smell certain plants that are about and know what's about. So there's like, there's a thing now that I'm able to do that I can smell if it's about to rain. There's a certain smell that comes into the air, and I can smell the point now where it's going to rain even before it starts to rain, because I've kind of tuned into that essence of scent that the earth gives off before it's about to rain. And it's partly to do with the atmosphere and the electrical charge in the atmosphere. It's to do with the moisture droplets within the atmosphere, and it essentially, the word for it is petrichor. So essentially it's the releasing of spores by little tiny plants and mosses and things like that are in the earth that pick up these microscopic pieces of moisture in the air, and then they release them up just before it's about to rain, and that's the smell that you get. That kind of fresh, rainy, earthy smell is what you get. So that is essentially the petrichor thing. So those kind of things are little tiny aspects of what I've learned to kind of do through this practice. The other side of that is obviously the herbalism side, and going out foraging is a big part of the practice. Going out foraging for natural foods, walking through woodland, picking out what you can use to eat, what you can use to make medicines from, and utilizing them, taking them back, preparing them. In my kitchen, I've got like a cupboard that essentially looks like something out of the 1700s. It's like a 1700s chemist kind of looking thing. There's jars full of roots and seeds and pods and leaves and all sorts of weird looking things, but all of them have a use. And for instance, things like feverfew that you find quite easily on sort of roadsides and stuff. Looks like a tiny little daisy. That's got the same active ingredients as paracetamol. So it's really good for fevers, takes down headaches and all kinds of aches and pains. Fig leaf is something like, I grow fig. I've got a fig tree in my garden. I grow fig leaves, and using fig leaves as a tea is, it's got anti-cancer properties, it's anti-inflammatories, and a huge amount of tons of different vitamins and minerals. So it's huge amounts of medicinal purposes, as well as tasting really nice as well. So all of those things kind of combine to, that's kind of the green side of it. The witchcraft side of it is a lot of, there's no real worship as such. More so it's following, like I said before, it's kind of following the seasons, following the lunar cycles, and the various Sabbats that happen throughout the year. So as part of that kind of practice is the magic side. Now there's magic, this is magic with a ICK rather than just a C. This is magic with a CK. So the difference between magic with a CK and magic with a C is, magic with a C is kind of what magicians do on TV. That's that kind of magic. That's not real magic. That's not that. And I don't knock those things. They're great and they're entertaining, but that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is magic to a point where it actually has an influence on your life, through manifesting, through intention, and all of those aspects come together to essentially create the life that you want. And part of that is one of the different, there's various different types that can take. Spells are obviously a major part of that. Casting spells. I've done quite a few spells for people within this group and another group, and they can be used for various different things. Potentially healing. Most of the spells that you would do on a daily basis would be healing, for others or for yourself, whether that's spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing, etc. So you do those spells, and all of the spells for my particular practice will contain herbs of some kind of healing herb. A lot of it contains candles. There's candle magic's a big thing, but also the shadow work side of it too is a big part of that. One of a really nice sort of, I guess, a really nice way of using magic, and quite a simple way that we can all do actually. If you've got a piece of paper and a pen, we can do some magic now. We can do sigil magic. If everyone's got a piece of paper or a pencil, or just something to write on. So sigil magic uses intention, essentially. So whatever your intention is. So when we create an intention with sigil magic, the idea is to keep it really simple, just to like 2 words, 3 words max. So how it works, I might be able to do it actually. Is there can I share screen for a sec? It might be easier to share screen. I can show you what I'm talking about. Will someone give me permission to share screen?
Hold on. I think I'd have to make you co-host as well.
You should normally be able to do it.
Let me just make you co-host. That'll be easier. So you should have co-host now.
Okay, yeah, I can see it now. Okay, so this is one that I did earlier. So a simple kind of a sigil, a simple kind of intention might be something like this. So say financial abundance, and that's just, a really simple intention, just a couple of words. That's all you need. So for sigil magic, it's really easy, and essentially how it works is you write your intention like this. Just simple words, 2 words, maybe 3 max. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, doesn't have to be financial abundance, could be whatever it is. But in as simple terms as you possibly can make it. And the idea behind sigil magic, and the idea behind a lot of magic, is down to the fact of when something's in your consciousness, we tend to put our own emotional blocks onto that thing. So when we want something, say we want, I don't know, we want lots of money, and we're thinking about it, we tend to put like our own emotional blocks onto the thing that we're thinking about, because it's in our minds. We've got our own preconditioned things that we say, oh, you know, I don't deserve this amount of money, or I don't deserve to be charging more for my services, or I don't deserve whatever it is. We always have these kind of things, particularly around money. We have these mental blocks that a lot of us have. So the idea with sigil magic is it's taking the thing that you want to, the intention that you have, it's taking it and it's letting it drop through from your consciousness to your subconscious. And when it's in your subconscious, you release it, you let it go. And it's the act of letting go that is the thing that makes it manifest. So in witchcraft, we believe that abundance is constantly flowing towards us all the time. There's nothing, it's not like a thing that you turn on and off, like sometimes you get abundance, sometimes you don't. Abundance is constantly flowing towards us, and particularly with green witchcraft, because nature in itself, by its very nature, it is abundant. You know, nature is abundant. It's abundant in everything. Nature doesn't have famines particularly. There's always abundance. It's us that create the famines and create the problems and stop the abundance from flowing. And essentially we do that by putting our own emotional blocks in there and our own physical blocks at times by our actions. So when you've written your intention down, what you need to do now is you take away any vowels, first of all. So take away all the vowels that are in that thing that you just wrote. So you cross out all the vowels, and then you take away any repeating letters. So for in this example, I've got financial abundance. So in financial, there's 2 N's. So I can keep one N, but I'll take away the other N. There's another N there, so take that away, another N there, so take that away. I've also got 2 C's within the financial abundance, so I'll take 1 C away. So what I'm left with is F, N, C, L, B, and D. So they are all the letters that I'm left with. So the key with sigil magic is you're turning these, what it's done is you've got that initial phrase at the top, the financial abundance. We all know what financial abundance means, but when it's turned to just this collection of letters, it's lost its meaning. The meaning's not there anymore, so we're not dwelling on that meaning anymore. It's allowed it to drop into our subconscious, because that meaning of financial abundance it's not something that's relevant anymore. These letters are now the only relevance that we have. And like I said before, it's in the here and now, so we don't think about what it used to be or what it's going to be in the future. We think about what it is right this second. So right this second, it's FNCLBD. That's it. So now what we do is a sigil is something that is essentially a symbol, and it's been used for thousands of years they usually tend to be used as seals for something, like you seal something. If you watch sort of like these kind of, you know, Game of Thrones kind of style of programs, there's this, or you read books that are sort of fantasy books and stuff like that, you tend to get people that are like, you know, they seal letters with wax, and they tend to have like a sigil or or they have their initials or whatever it is on there. So essentially a sigil is exactly that. It's a visual representation of, in that case, it's a visual representation of a family or a crest or a house or whatever. In this circumstance, it's a visual representation of your intention that you're setting. So the idea is now that you use these letters that you're left with to create a sigil. Now, a sigil can be any design that you want, and you make it as fancy or as simple as you like. So it could be, you know, you could really have fancy Fs, you could have sort of N, they could be big Cs, they could be Ls, they could be Ds, they could be Bs, and it doesn't have to look like anything. So that could be the sigil just from that. So it's a jumble up of all the letters that you've got left to play with, and it can be as beautiful as you want. Usually I would make it look really, really beautiful in design, because that's kind of my thing that I do, and that's how I am. But for time purposes, I'll just whack it down and scribble it as if it's nothing. So I wouldn't normally do this digitally. I'd normally do this on a piece of paper with a pen and a pencil, and make it put as much effort, as much energy into it as you want. The more energy that you can put into it, the more creative energy you can put into it, the better it will be, essentially. The more powerful the sigil will be, the more intention and the more creative energy you've put into it, the more energy that will be contained within it, and the more energy you'll be able to put out there. So once you've got your sigil how you want it, and you're happy with how the design that it looks like, and it looks great, and you're really happy about how it's turned out, this is the bit now that holds the power. And it's all, like I said before, it's all about the letting go. Everything in green witchcraft is about the here and now, and everything in magic in general particularly is about the here and now. Even when we're doing divination for past or future, the whole thing that we come round to essentially is about the here and now. So what you do with the sigil when you've got it and it's beautifully designed, you put all your energy into it, is you tear it out of the book if you've written it in a book, or if you put it on a piece of paper, you take the piece of paper, you would fold it over, you would fold it small, and then you would burn it. And essentially you would do it outside, really. That's the ideal place. So you would burn it, and while it's burning and the smoke's sort of drifting up, and the ashes are sort of going wherever they're going, you're focusing on this sigil, not the phrase of financial abundance or whatever you wrote. That's not what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the actual sigil that you finished with, that you ended up with, and you're focusing on that in your mind's eye. You're focusing on it going up through the smoke, and it's entering the energies of the atmosphere of the universe. It's mixing with the universal energies, and it's adding to those constantly flowing energies that are always flowing towards us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's dropped out of your consciousness. The financial abundance thing has dropped out of your consciousness. You're not dwelling on it now. It's dropped into your subconscious, and you've let it go. And that act of letting go is the thing that flows it, the thing that flows it to you. So that's essentially what sigil magic is. And it is all purely about the act of letting go. So let me just stop this share for a sec. Stop share. Okay. So yeah. So if you wrote that down onto a piece of paper, after we've finished, it might be an idea to go and burn it. You can burn it in a candle, burn it outside, however you decide to do it. I tend to do it with incense and stuff as well at the time, and I tend to do it at night time, just purely because that's when I feel the most comfortable doing it. I enjoy working at night. But that act of letting go is a key aspect of green witchcraft. Nice. So that aspect is a key aspect of green witchcraft. So that concept of letting go is the thing that helps a green witch to stay grounded in the present. And it's always about the present, the very present moment. I'm awful at organising things in the future. You know, if someone says, "Oh, what are you doing next week?" I've got no idea, because it's not important. It's irrelevant to me. What I'm doing in an hour's time is irrelevant to me half the time. How I actually manage to run a business, I don't know, but I do. But working in the here and now, it's allowed me to. The sense of inner peace that I have is profound, and I haven't had it always like this. I mean, I'm a second generation witch. My mum was also one, and my oldest son is also a green witch as well. He's a practicing witch as well. So it's kind of gone through the family, but I guess it's only the past, probably about the past 4 or 5 years more so, that I've really understood what it means. I've always been into sort of, had knowledge of wild foods and foraging and all that kind of stuff. My parents always, we always went out as kids picking berries and mushrooms, and we knew what to pick and we knew what to eat and what not to eat, and what was poisonous and what wasn't, and so on. But it's only sort of in the more recent years, I guess, that I really do understand what it means, what witchcraft means, and the sense of profound peace that it gives you, and this sense of real connection. that a lot of people are seeking all the time. We're all seeking for this connection to the earth and to the universe all the time. And I think when you find it, your whole outlook on life changes. It's things like profound things like you're not fearful of dying, or you're not fearful of loss, or you're not fearful of, you know, if you split up with a relationship splits up or something, you're not fearful anymore. You're not fearful of being alone. It's all those profound things that, because you're not worrying about the future, and you're not worrying about the past, you focus on the here and now. So everything that's gone before doesn't matter. Everything that goes in front doesn't matter. What matters is right this second, right now. And that aspect is the key thing. That grounded earth aspect is the key thing that Green Witchcraft is all about. So I think it's pretty much about more or less on time. So has anyone got any questions?
Thank you, Shaun. That was brilliant. Anyone got any questions? Oh, there's one in the chat.
What that?
You mentioned green witchcraft follows the laws of nature. Does this extend to all laws of the universe? And in similar vein, how much does astrology play any role in the energy of plants, e.g. harvesting at a full new moon? That's from Harry.
Yeah, Harry, astrology, the lunar cycles, the seasons, the stars, wind, sun. The sun's, I think the sun, people obviously focus on the moon a lot, and you know, there's a good reason for that, but the sun also has its own aspects as well. You know, the moon's got feminine energy, the sun is masculine energy. So you need both in a balance to, it's all about balance. So you need both in a balance to, when it comes to witchcraft. And when it comes to things like harvesting, yes, you know, harvesting at a full moon, there are different energies. Depends what you want to do with the thing that you're harvesting, but harvesting at a full moon, there are different energies to what you would get harvesting in the day. And harvesting at sunset is different to the energy that we get harvesting at sunrise. So it just depends what you want to do really with it. And there are certain plants that only bloom at night time, and certain plants that only bloom in the daytime, and certain plants that only bloom in the morning, and certain plants that only bloom, you know, sort of twilight. So it just depends what it is, what you're doing with it, and what your intention is. The whole thing is about intention. So however you harvest something is all about intention. For witches, it tends to be like a toolkit that's like a regular kind of essential toolkit for witches. There's a lot of ceremonial things, but there's also a lot of things that are practical as well. So you have two different kinds of knives, essentially. There's a bowline, which is like what we would use to like, it will be a sharp knife that's always kept clean, always kept really sharp. And that's what you use to harvest things, to cut shoots down, to cut plants, to you know, dig something out of the ground. Whatever it is, it's a sharp blade that you use purely for that purpose, nothing else. And then you've got an atami as well, which is more of a ceremonial knife. It's more something that you would use for things like maybe stirring herbs in a spell, or for drawing a chalk circle on the ground, or something like that. There's also a wand, so this is my wand. So there's also a wand that you use, and this is used kind of ceremoniously all the time. This is, I was saying earlier to Suzanne and Karen and Rosemary, that this is from an apple tree. My birth wood is an apple tree, and this particular apple tree is from some woodland near me, and it's the tree that I scattered my dad's ashes around. So this, to me, this is more powerful to me because it has the essence of my dad running through it. So I use this in my practice. I use it as kind of, you know, if I've had a bad day, it's something that I hold, and I feel the energy through that as well. When it comes to certain times of the year, things like harvesting and things like that for harvest time and stuff, I tend to, you know, the harvesting of things is also important. That's an important thing. And all of the Sabbats, pretty much, the Sabbats, we celebrate the Sabbats various different times of the year. You know, there are numerous different Sabbats, and you might be able to see, I don't know if you can see them from behind me, this kind of lunar calendar behind me. So you've got Yule, obviously, sort of Christmas time. Then it goes into, I can't remember what the next one is, Imbolc, sorry, that's it. and then there's Beltane, and so on and so on. And it goes through the year, and each season has its own Sabbath, and each Sabbath is about using the energies of that particular time of year, and it all revolves essentially for our kind of practice. It all revolves around eating and sharing food with family, sharing food, eating, drinking, sharing food, and sharing abundance of nature with family. So whether that's gathered herbs, we tend to sort of gather a lot of natural foods and make natural food and homegrown foods and share that out. I share it with my family, and my brother's not a witch, but he's very much into growing his own food and herbal and natural remedies and things like that. So we share our produce. He grows stuff, I grow stuff, and we share it. And that's part of what the whole thing is about. It's about that sharing of abundance, of nature's abundance, because it is always abundant. So it is part of all of that.
Did you want to ask a question?
Me.
Sorry. Whoever's next.
Did you say that was a Sabbath calendar, Shaun?
It's a lunar calendar, and it's got, I don't know if I can actually stretch it to that, but I don't know if the camera will stretch that far, but it's essentially a lunar calendar.
Oh, lunar.
Yeah, it's the lunar calendar. But it covers everything from all the moon cycles throughout the year.
Yeah.
It covers the Sabbats. It covers the star signs and the months of the year. It also covers all the moon phases. It tells you when there's going to be like meteor showers and things like that. And it also tells you when to plant leafy vegetables, the best time of year to plant vegetables, the best time of year to harvest them. It tells you when supermoons are going to be, and so on. It's brilliant, and they do a new one every year.
Where can we get that from?
Yeah,
please?
that was my question, Shaun, is kind of where is it from?
Is it Amazon?
It's online. No, I can't remember the link. I'll have to find it and I'll put it into the group.
Okay.
Yeah, please. So it's called the lunar calendar.
It's actually it's an artist that she hand paints them and then obviously just sells the prints.
Are you getting commission?
Sorry?
Are you getting commission?
Nobody should do.
Actually, it should be yours. You're a graphic designer, and it looks lovely. It'd be really good to have the link for it, actually.
Yeah, I will do. I'll let me make a note of that, and I'll stick it in the group.
Okay, great. It's beautiful.
Shaun, you mentioned in the notes that we should bring a rock or a bit of wood, but we haven't used that. I was just wondering what the plan was behind that.
Yes, this is all about you can do that now because it takes seconds to do. So it's all about what I was saying before about the here and now. It's about noticing the aspects and the elements of nature here in the here and now. So if you've got a rock or a stone or a piece of wood or a branch or even if it's like a shoot of a plant or whatever it is, something natural anyway, if you hold it in your hand, and the idea is that you're using all of your senses to understand about that thing. And if you're out in nature, you can do that as well. I mean, you can do it with sort of holding onto a tree, or people sort of laugh at kind of tree hugging, but tree hugging is an amazing thing to do, and you feel the levels of stress and weariness and anxiety just drop the second you hold a tree. So it's based around the same kind of aspect as that. So whatever it is that you've got in your hands, so the first sense is feel how it feels, feel the temperature, feel the texture, feel, is it smooth, is it rough, is it prickly, is it furry, is it warm, is it cold? So the feeling, the physical feeling, don't focus on anything else, don't focus on the look or anything else about it, just purely how it feels right this second in your hand right now, and feel how that feeling feels. Does it come up with, does it make you think of any emotions? Does it remind you of something? Does it have any kind of memory or significant memory to you that it invokes by holding it? So it's just the act of feeling that thing in the here and now. And then the next sense that you use is smell it. How does it smell? Has it got a smell to it? Is there an aroma that it triggers a memory, or does it is it an unpleasant smell? Is it a nice smell? Is it sweet? Is it sour?
Right, put your hand up. Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you to smell it.
Okay.
Mine legit smells like money.
Does it?
What is it? I can't see it.
It's a rock. I've just got it from the garden now.
Oh, nice.
I
Right,
know.
like around it. Let me smell it.
And I got her a dandelion leaf.
I would definitely get your intention sent out tonight.
Honestly, it smells like money. Does that smell like money?
That's nice.
I don't know if it smells like that to me. It does to you. I think it's different.
Honestly, it really
Yeah.
does.
But this is the thing, the same
But
thing. can smell
American,
completely-
it smells like a dollar.
Smells
And
like
you
a
might
dog.
smell that tomorrow and it might smell completely different and remind
Yeah.
you of something else. So this is
Yeah.
what nice about the here and now. So the next thing is, does it sound like anything? You know, is it hollow? Has it got a rattle? If it's a stone, it obviously won't have necessarily have a sound. But if you hold it to your ear, does it sound like anything? When you rub it, does it sound like anything? How does it sound when you rub it? How does it sound when you stroke it? How does it sound when you spin it? Whatever you do with it, does it sound like something? And then you use your other senses. You know, if this is one that you can do if it's not something that's going to cause you any harm, but how does it taste? Has it got a taste? If it's not going to cause you a harm, if it's not poisonous, then fair enough. And if it's not really particularly unpleasant, but you can taste it. So does it taste like something? Even a stone, how does it taste? Does it taste salty? Does it taste sweet? Does it taste bitter? Does it taste
Salty.
Yeah, salty, I guess. That could be to do with either your hands or
That's what I was thinking.
the salt, natural salts in it.
Mine was muddy.
Yeah, so there's that earthy kind of taste. Yeah.
Oh, no, you
Um,
spoke. Oh, you know, you spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
right.
then, and also then you go on to how it looks. So how does it look at this present moment in time, in the light that's hitting it at this moment? How does it look? Because it will look differently in a different light, and it will look differently outside than what it does inside, and it will look different in your hand as opposed to on your desk, or it will look differently on the table to what it will look in a plant pot, and so on. So how does it look at this present moment in time with the light that's hitting it now? What does it look like? Is it shiny? Is it dull? Is it bright? Is it textured in any way? Paula says mine is a dragon's head. Nice. Can we see your dragon's head? Oh, cool. Yeah, it does actually look like a dragon's head as well. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I got it from Norfolk off the beach, but she did let me take her.
Nice. I did the same. I went to Yorkshire a couple of years ago, and I that standing pile of stones there, that's a balancing stones, and I balanced them. I don't know if you can see it actually, but I balanced them on the beach, and I took a photo, and then I grabbed the pile as they were, and then brought them back and put them on my shelf, and they've been balancing ever since. They're not stuck on by anything. They've been balancing as they are for 2 years now. And that's kind of my visual cue for remaining balanced. That is what the purpose of that is. That is purely for remaining balanced and reminding me to remain balanced in all things. So yeah, so you can use those things as like a visual cue. So that was just what that was essentially. That little quick process. It's all about kind of analyzing things in the right here and now, whatever it is. And it's a good one to do when you get up in the morning. You know, a lot of people kind of get up, make a cup of tea, check on social media, check the news, whatever. Instead of doing those things, have your cup of tea, and even if it's just a drink, you know, how does your mug feel? How does it taste? How does it smell? How does it, you know, does it make a noise? Is it sort of, can you hear like the bubbling of it, or is it swish as it sort of moves around the cup? All of those things, doing that kind of exercise on a daily basis keeps you really, really grounded in the here and now all the time. And when you form it into a habit and you do it as like a regular practice, it's really powerful and can really keep you grounded. And especially when you're having a really naff day or you've had a really crappy time of things recently, it's kind of a really nice way to keep you grounded and remind you that, you know, all will be well. The situation is only as it is for this very moment in time. It doesn't matter, you know, it's not going to be like this forever. And I think it's important to remember those things sometimes. So it's a good exercise to do.
Like a form of mindfulness, really, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, and much of the sort of witchcraft practices are mindfulness. A lot of it is, there's things like journaling and keeping a book of shadows, which is something that most witches tend to do. So you have your book of spells, where you write down your spells, the actual practical recipes of spells, and then you have a book of shadows, which is a lot of things to do with like emotions, how you're feeling, how you're feeling on a particular day towards a situation, how you handle certain situations and so on. And that's more about the inner kind of work of things. I have kind of that's my actual spell book where I actually write down my spells. So there's stuff where I actually write down spells and stuff. And then there's the book of shadows is a different thing altogether. And that's where there's everything to do with my sort of day-to-day practice and stuff. So yeah, so that is essentially the different kinds of journey. So again, it's all mindfulness, journaling and stuff like that is important. Yeah, the here and now is the key.
So with the shadow work, because you stay in the present, do you write it down and then sort of never look back at it? How's that work?
It depends. I mean, certain things you can look back, but the idea is that no matter what's happened in the past, the idea is about forgiving yourself, no matter what's happened in the past, and you forgive yourself, and you're always conscious of the fact that whatever happened in the past has led you to the now. That's what it's all about. So whatever's happened in the past, it's irrelevant now. It's all led you to the now, and it all had to happen to bring you to where you are right this second in time. So that's the kind of key focus of all shadow work within witchcraft and particularly my practice. It's all to do with kind of forgiving. You can't forgive other people sometimes, if they've really wronged you or whatever, but you can forgive how you reacted to that person. So bringing your focus to the here and now helps you kind of not think about those things and not think about the people that hurt you and the situations that upset you and things. So you can look back on things. It's okay. It's kind of like the past. That phrase, "the past is a country." It's a foreign country. It's nice to visit the past, but you don't have to live there.
No.
That's what it's about. It's always nice to come back home.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
So Christine has asked a question. Can I ask why you removed the vowels in the sigil?
Because vowels are the kind of building blocks that give our language meaning. So when you've got the meaning, you're automatically putting those mental blocks on the meaning because you know it's a meaning. When you take away those vowels, it starts to lose its meaning, and the language is unimportant. And it doesn't matter what language you do it in, it still has the same effect. So then you'll focus purely on the here and now, purely on that set of letters that you've got left. And then the more you remove the meaning from the initial intention, the more you're able to let go. When you hold on, when you know what the meaning is, when there's a meaning to something, we really struggle to let go of things. And a part of there's a big thing for witches where we don't keep stuff, essentially. We don't kind of bond to things. So things like, some of us have like wardrobes full of old clothes that we don't use. We tend to get rid of them, burn them, make something out of them, upcycle them, whatever. They're irrelevant, material things are completely irrelevant half the time. So yeah, it's about that.
Anyone got any questions? Caroline, go ahead.
Shaun, can I just ask you, it really resonated with me when you said that you could smell the rain and you can smell the trees. And I lost my sense of taste and smell in October. And I used to be able to smell trees, smell, taste, just like you were saying, decipher those elements. And since then, what struck me today is that I've not ever been able to feel grounded properly. I've got really, really sore heels as a consequence. And I don't even know why I'm talking about it, because that's what I wrote down. That was my one thing that I really want back, because whilst I'm not a green witch, there's parts of me that's really resonate. So is there anything that when you lost your sense of taste and smell, because it's such an integral part of who you are, is there anything that you did when you lost it for such a long time that you could possibly pass on till this thing comes back?
I kind of I used to lace everything with chili.
Yeah.
Because the sensation made up for not having flavor a little bit. It kind of, at least I got something from it, whether it was the heat of chili rather than the flavor. Everything had chili in, and it was just so I could feel something.
Do you feel like it's changed? Because I like you, when you connect with a tree, you know, you're automatically drawn into it.
Yeah.
And you can feel that, and you can that communicates. And I feel that that's kind of lessened significantly because of those lack of two senses, but they were probably hypersensitive to that.
I think it does, because trees, the way trees communicate is through a chemical scent.
Yeah.
You know, they give off these chemical pheromones, and that's what we smell. And you know, like when you smell that smell of cooked grass, that's essentially the grass screaming. That's a cry for help. It's essentially saying, you know, we're being massacred here. It's what you're smelling is a massacre. Even though it's quite a nice smell, but yeah, that chemical kind of thing that plants send off, that is kind of what draws us to them as well. We pick up on that, and that gives us that kind of communication. One of the things that I would say is you can train yourself to smell again. You may not get your full smell back, just, you know, for a while, but you can train yourself to smell by using essential oils. And what I did was, and I still do sometimes now, it's I tend to get like various different essential oils. So you would get lavender, lemon oil, eucalyptus oil, and peppermint oil. And you get those, they're the four main ones that you would, tea tree oil as well, that you could get tea tree as well, that's good as well. And what you do is you do this as a daily kind of routine. So you would smell, you get the essential oils and you put them under your nose, and you take big breaths in through your nose and you smell them. And even if you can't smell them, it doesn't matter, just persevere. And you smell these different oils for 20 seconds a day. And you do it 20 seconds, say 20 seconds in the morning, 20 seconds in the evening. And you say you could do like 5 seconds of each particular scent each time you do this. And you do this daily, and what it does, it kind of trains your olfactory nerves to start working again, because when you lose your sense of smell, they stop working, because they think, well, I don't need to, you can't smell anyway, what's the point?
What they were again. Sorry, what were the names of the oils?
Oh, lavender,
Eucalyptus,
yeah, lemon. Tea tree,
yeah.
yeah, and peppermint, or any kind of mint-based oil. So peppermint,
Yeah.
spearmint, whatever.
Well, you would say to do them all separately, Shaun, as in kind of.
You do them in the same session, but like say do 5 seconds of each scent.
Okay.
So
It's actually really, my daughter lost her sense of smell and taste with COVID in August last year. She's only 17 and she still hasn't got it back. So it is really interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of, for that kind of thing, it will probably work, because there's not really a mechanical reason why it's not working.
Yeah,
it's just kind of triggered something in that's turned it off. So retraining it that way would probably work really well, actually.
Okay. So kind of 5 seconds of each one on a tissue or on something, or just
just out the
depends how you can just open the lid and hold it under your nose and do it that way. Just
okay, that's really interesting.
So breathe in sort of deeply with your nose, keeping your mouth closed, and breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth. And you do that, say 5 seconds for each oil, for each fragrance, and then do it probably twice a day. And probably after about 2 or 3 weeks, you'll probably start to notice that you're getting some sensation of smell and taste back. Your smell will come back first, and then your taste probably a bit later. But your smell should come back a little bit after a while.
So I've been doing that. I can just about get lavender, just about. but nothing else. Everything's like acetone. So would you recommend then doing it at different cycles in the day then?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I tend to do it sort of morning and maybe evening, because throughout the day you kind of you putting other stuff in your mouth and whatever, so it kind of negates it a bit. But I'll probably do it when you get up in the morning and probably when you go to bed at night.
Do you think I should do it outside, Shaun? That's the only thing that's just struck me now, that maybe I should just do it when I'm stood on the grass.
Again, it's about your personal kind of preference. It's experimentation. When you're grounded or when you're more relaxed, you're probably more likely to breathe deeper and breathe it in better anyway. So it might be an idea to do that. Maybe
because it's bothering me so much.
It is, and it, I fully sympathise. It's not pleasant. I start to lose some of my memories that I linked to smell.
Yeah. Well, especially summer is such, because summer is an amazing, spring and summer. It's just, well, it's well, winter smells amazing, but those scents from spring and summer is just the thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it was
sadness.
It is. No, I fully sympathise. It's unpleasant, and I think it's more profound than people realise sometimes. We kind of think, well, it's only smell. You can do everything else. You can see, you can hear, you can use your other senses, but your smell kind of affects memories and stuff. And I'd started to forget memories of like my grandparents, how my grandparents' house used to smell, and my granddad used to grow tomatoes in his greenhouse, and I can't remember how fresh tomatoes smell.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I'd start to lose sort of aspects of my memory to do with scent. But gradually I'm starting to remember things when I come across them now. And I probably look a bit of a freak at times, just smelling everything. I pick everything up and smell it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you for that. I'll try and do that.
Thank you, Shaun. Anyone else got any questions? No. Oh, Sue, yeah.
Hi, Shaun. I just wondered, do you kind of offer any sort of like consultation to people? Like have you in this regard? Is that something you're building?
As in,
well, kind of like if anybody sort of kind of wants to enhance their I don't know, cooking skills or foraging or even individually, if they've got some problems within within themselves, etc. Do you have sort of like offer a consultation to sort of say, have you tried this and this, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't sort of see it as a consultation. I just do it. So it's not something I've really thought about too much. But yeah, I mean, I do. I have, there's people that will get in touch and say, I'm experiencing this. Can you do anything to help, or what I should do? So I kind of jump on calls with people, or if they're local, I'll visit or whatever. Or they might want a spell creating. One of the big things I use quite a lot is spell bags, and because I use herbs a lot, I use little kind of cotton spell bags. I use herbs and various different magical ingredients in, and I send people spell bags and stuff, and they can be really good for things like anxiety is really good. Spell bags are brilliant for anxiety. They're good for things like you can get various different concoctions in a spell bag that are good for things like sleep problems.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so I'm open to it. Yeah.
Okay, and so just the other thing I was going to ask you is, how do you, because you were talking about sigil, how do you spell it?
Oh,
it's S-I-G-I-L.
Sorry?
Oh, S-I-G-I-L.
S-I-G-I-L. Lovely,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Shimi's got a question actually.
I've forgotten it.
Oh,
now.
no.
Sorry, I've forgotten it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No?
Yeah, no, I can't remember.
Oh, sorry.
It must
Shimi
have
had a
been
question too,
important.
Shaun. Do you remember?
If you think of it, just drop it in the chat or in the group. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I will do. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Emily, have you got a question? No. Oh. Emily says just to say thank you so much for a wonderful chat.
Oh, thank you, Emily.
Image remembered.
Sorry, I've remembered.
Oh, yeah.
I know, sure. Do you know someone on Facebook called Julian Coulter?
Called who, sorry?
Julian Coulter, Coutler.
Not that I know of.
No, because what you offer, with like when you're helping people out and stuff, he does the same thing. And I just wondered if like you knew each other because of obviously your talents and things. And
No, I kind of, it's a weird one because there's a lot of witches that I know that are really kind of like I say, they work in covens, so they're
Yeah.
they're
Well,
very kind of.
this guy doesn't seem to. That's why I thought, do you know him? Because he's very.
No, but I'll definitely look him up and
yeah.
see what he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
it's
on
cool.
Facebook too, Shaun, or how can we kind of follow you directly?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Who's on there?
The sort of I'm on Instagram various different things. So I'm on Instagram as myself. So as I think my Instagram handle is Big Picto, is actually me. And then there's the Brushcaster, which is a lot of the wishy stuff that I do, but it's also mostly based around my artwork as well, my paintings that I do. So I paint and the painting and the magic kind of goes hand in hand. So there's always like stories that go behind my artwork, and most of them are to do with the magical sense. So that's called the Brushcaster, and
Is that on Facebook, Shaun?
that's on Instagram. It may be on Facebook at some point. In fact, I might have already set a Facebook page up. I can't remember now, but definitely on Instagram anyway. As a Brushcaster.
Yeah, Facebook's under the canopy, isn't it?
Yeah, the Facebook group is Beneath the Canopy. Beneath the Canopy, and that's everything to do with magic, witchcraft, herbalism, foraging, nature.
Oh, I'm so glad I did this.
So you can join that, and I post stuff up regularly. I did a wild walk today where I was going around, sort of did a Facebook Live, and it was just in the local area and looking at things that people just walk past as weeds and saying what they were, what they did, what you can use them for, what they do, and all that stuff. So I'll be doing a lot more of those in the coming weeks as well. The kind of
like an excursion, and you learn.
Something I do. Yeah, so they're pretty much it. I'll put all the details and stuff in the group.
Yeah. Sorry, crack on.
Connect people up. To invite people into the group if you want to join us. And that's no worries.
Lovely.
Nice.
Really interesting. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
So good. And I think everyone's here for a reason. Like they were meant to see this, so I think we're all going to take something away with us.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think that.
No,
exists.
well, yeah, it's not a coincidence.
Everything happens for a reason, and
yeah,
it's kind of that butterfly effect. Everything for me is, even when you brush past a branch on the way out, I think that has a knock-on effect to something else, and that will feel a ripple further down the line for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of being aware of your surroundings, hyper aware of your surroundings all the time.
Yeah.
At that moment is the key thing for me, and just being consciously aware of what you do all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Does your head ever go in the clouds though, like ours does? Like you think you're grounded, and then you'll notice that you're somewhere else.
It's a weird one because
I've not mastered doing it every day.
Yeah, I mean, my partner calls me Mr. Manana.
Oh really? Mr. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't ever rush. It's like, if she's sort of saying, oh, we have to be in such a place by this time, yeah, great, yeah. It's not happen, yeah. But it's kind of because I live in the here and now. I don't plan for the future particularly.
Yeah.
So it has its positives and negatives.
I just always seem to kick myself because I've done like all this work and then I switch back into like I'm somewhere else.
Yeah. So, it happens. But yeah, I mean, you get those times when things knock you down and stuff, and you think, you know, things are a bit crap or whatever. But the whole thing is I'm maintained in this aspect of whatever's happening, it's just happening right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be forever, and that's it. I live by that kind of concept. So
I can't wait to get there.
I know,
bother me.
you are getting there. You are getting there.
Yeah, it doesn't bother too much longer, really.
It's like,
And literally, I've
made so many notes tonight. Shimi's made 3 pages of notes from the even though. So you know the recording, I don't know if it's Karen.
Yeah.
But are you going to repost that on a group, or where will you?
Yeah. So Rosemary does the recordings and then she puts them in Telegram. So are you on the Telegram group?
I'm not sure what's the Telegram group.
Are you on the WhatsApp group?
We're on the WhatsApp.
Well, we were shared by you.
Then, right, so we'll copy it then into the WhatsApp group. So everything that Shaun is welcome to, this is what we always say, is for the next week, it's Shaun's space. So he can put anything in there, and whatever he puts on Telegram, because he's on Telegram, we'll put in WhatsApp. So any events, all his contact details.
So we won't miss anything.
No, you won't miss anything.
I think that we found it through the Surrey, our community. You know, you.
Oh yes, yeah. I put it on there.
It came from. So we weren't part of the Telegram group. So it'd be interesting to see that. Anyway, really.
Yeah.
So are you on the Soul Solutions WhatsApp group, or you just got it because I put the link in the community one?
Yeah, no, just because of the community. Yeah.
So what I would suggest is contact me on WhatsApp, because I'm in that group. Find me on there, and I can add you to the WhatsApp Soul Solutions group, and you'll get everything direct. Then you'll get all the.
Sorry, just repeat it, Karen.
Well, Soul Solutions. So I'll do it, Karen. So yeah, we'll find.
So just contact me, and I can put you in there.
Yeah,
great.
Wicked, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
You want to
Shaun.
round up, Suzanne?
Yeah. Thanks, Shaun. That was absolutely fabulous, and yeah, it was good fun. And thanks for doing a talk. We've been asking you to do one for a while, so it was good that I'm back today for this talk. So that's fabulous. So as Karen said, for the group, yours is the floor for the next week. How we run the groups, for those of you that don't know, on the WhatsApp and the Telegram, it is just literally about the person that's presented for that week. So you can obviously comment and ask questions of what they put so that they get the floor. And then for the week after, we'll introduce the next person of what's coming up.
Oh, wicked.
Every 2 weeks, we'll have a different person on speak, and we haven't finalised who's going to be next.
No.
So we'll announce that again in both groups when that pops up, and then we're going to have a break for August, and then we'll come back again in September, because it's always a bit low on numbers. People away, and everybody just gets a bit of a break. So so
that was amazing though. What you did.
More. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. No, we are. No, we're not on mute. No, no, we're talking. No, it's great.
Right.
Thank you so much. It's brilliant.
If you have any questions for Shaun, just pop them in the group, and then we can get them to him. All right.
Okay. Thanks so much, Shaun.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
See
you.
next week.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.